Hi everybody. I've noticed that there have been a lot of posts on some of the Facebook groups recently about how to embed your post finding into your earring and to give it a nice finish and also to make it more secure than just gluing it on. So I was doing some and I thought I would share with you what my tips and tricks are from many years of doing this. So this is one of my quilt canes that I'm going to make into a post earring. So what I would do is when I'm ready to bake them, I put the worst side down on a ceramic tile to bake them on. And that's so you put the worst side down because you're going to get a shiny spot probably on the base of it. And then I just make sure that it's nice and secure to this, and that will keep it from curling up. Sometimes if you put it on cardstock, the cardstock might bend a little bit. And so I bake them like that so that they're going to be nice and flat and they're going to stay that way. And I sell work for production. I sell production work. So I bake everything pretty much between 40 and 50 minutes, even if I'm going to be doing multi-bakes. So I would put this in the oven, bake it for that time, and then I would bring it back over to my desk and I would turn it back over to what was your worst side that may have some shiny spots on it, and I'll spray clean it with a little bit of alcohol to make sure that there's no little greasy parts on it. And then I'll also take the post, this one's already attached, but I would take the post and I would also clean that post part with alcohol and let it dry. Okay, so now I have my two earrings that I'm going to do, and for something like this that's large, I tend to put it up towards the top third of the earring. If it were a circle that's not much larger than your post, you certainly could put it in the middle, but I think everything looks a little bit better if it's in the upper third. Okay, so now what I've done is I've rolled out the color that matches the border on this. It doesn't have to match it perfectly. It could even be like another square of your veneer that you're doing. On this, when I use a Dream Machine, and I do these normally like on a number 8 or a number 9, which are less than a millimeter. So you would use the appropriate then setting on whatever machine you have. Okay. And then I have a little bit of Bacon Bond. You can use Bacon Bond or you can use liquid clay, any brand. I feel like the Bacon Bond is just a little bit thicker so that it doesn't, it just doesn't get as slicky on it because you're going to be moving it around a lot. Okay, so I've glued on my post with, I like Loctite Super Gel. But any Sinolacrylate will work. And I've glued the metal onto the clay. And now I'm going to put, after you let it dry so you don't end up sticking your fingers to all this, I'm just going to put a little bit of the Bacon Bond onto the back, and make sure you cover the back of the post as well. Okay, so that's been done. Okay, now I've cut it out so that it's about the same size as your earring is. It doesn't really matter because you're going to stretch it around a little bit, and plus you're never going to be able to get it right onto the post so that it fits perfectly. So don't fuss over it. You just want to get it down on there and then press it down with your fingers. Okay, now that's a little air bubble there, so you want to try and press that out. Get it to the edge. If you see any big bubbles like that one, which you probably can't see on camera, but you can always pinprick them. But what's going to help even most is texturing it with something. Now these are like air conditioning filters, or I think some people use filters for aquariums or something. Anything with a texture. It could be a piece of, textured paper, sandpaper, whatever. And I'm going to press that in there pretty good, because by putting all that pressure and the texture on there, that's going to make sure that you don't have any really big air bubbles left in there. Okay, so we're going to do both of those. And you'll have a real mess when you get finished. Don't worry about it. We're going to fix that. Now see, I got a big wrinkle in there, but that's okay because I can press it out, because the object is to get this as thin as you can while still being thick enough to keep the metal finding in there. Okay, so there. Can you see? Oop, I never know where to move these things. There you go. Okay, so now you got all this mess around here. Now what you can do, of course, is you can take your blade and you can go around and trim it. Trim it like this, and then rub your finger along the edge to make sure that you've got nice smooth. Now this, obviously, because the color is the same as the border, extra clay isn't going to show as much. Shh, Vienna. Shh. Sorry about that. She rarely barks. Okay, so now you've got that nice, and all the edges are nice, and then you're going to bake it again. Now this time I might sorry about the dog barking. Now she's calmed down. So you're just going to smooth those edges and make sure they look really nice. There's no excess ridges of clay or anything like that on it. You got a nice textured back now. And now is when I would put cardstock down on my pan and bake it with the good side down. So you don't want to put it just on a ceramic tile to bake it at this stage. You do on the first one, but not this stage. Here you can put paper on top of the ceramic, or you can just put a piece of cardstock underneath your items and put it into your metal pan, whatever you use for baking. But I came up with another little tool of sorts that I also like to use to trim, because sometimes that trim doesn't come as easily as you would like it to with just the blade. So what I did was I took several sheets of cardstock, I laminated them together with packing, clear packing tape, put a hole in it. So now what I can do is I can put that in there, and now I can look at the top of it as I'm cleaning it off. And I have one of my little dental tools does a particularly good job on it, and of course I can't find it right now. Where did it go? Ah, I pulled it out to have it here, and it wasn't where I thought it was. Okay, so what I would do here is, so I'm just going to pull that along the edge to get off the excess. And then I can kind of angle it down in there a little bit so that it bevels that edge. So in case you're not using, the back color isn't the same as the border, then this way if you bevel it, you're not really going to see that edge of it once it gets baked, because it's been beveled. And then take it off of there, and then I'm going to do the same thing again, but now I'm going to bevel onto the edge a little bit with my finger and make sure that there's no extra clay on there. So if you're using like a design cane or something like that that doesn't exactly match the border, that you don't want it to show when the earring is on, that's what you do. And you might need to repress your texture a little bit. And there you go. So in case you're doing something that's very small, I'll show you. If you don't want to cover the entire back, let's see, what can we pretend with? Well, we can pretend with this, and then I'll pull it off. Okay, so the other alternative would be pretend I've done all the cleaning with the alcohol. Okay. So you stick that right there. You're going to let it sit for a little bit. So what I'm going to do this time is, if I just want to partially cover the the earring post, because I want the rest to show for whatever reason, or say it's a smaller piece. So I would do that. And the reason I don't do this version as much is because it is really hard to get that right in the center of where your post is going to be. Okay. And then what you would have to do is you would have to trim this edge off right here. And there's another alternative. So you can do a partial cover, or you can do a full cover. There you go. I hope that helped. If you have any other ideas of things that you'd like me to do a quick video on, just make a comment here and I will see what I can do for you. Okay? Thanks. Have a great day. Clay.